Hello everyone, we are here in a mystery location, and today we're going to have a conversation about the subject of Portugal and some changes that have recently been announced that they're working on that potentially make it a lot less attractive. And so I'm going to give you the updates on what is proposed, what the status is, what it might mean, how this fits into overall what is going on with Portugal over the last little while, and what alternatives there might be for those who are interested. So hang in there. Before we get into that, we're gonna play a little game of Where's Michael? This should be like a pretty easy one. I've done in various videos kind of telling you where I am and having you guess. So right now we will take a guess. So you can see, I mean, there's like this really identifiable landmark right there. And if you can see some other stuff around, you will find a bunch of others that are very identifiable. However, that being said, for those who have not been here, I will tell you in the next video what that is, so you can go and subscribe and check that out as we come along. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the subject of Portugal. So, what is going on in Portugal? The first thing that is going on in Portugal is they have announced some changes, proposed changes, to what will take place in terms of getting citizenship there. They're talking about making it much more difficult. Now, for some context so that you can understand why this is somewhat significant, you know, generally speaking, it's nice if you can get citizenship in a place relatively easily, relatively quickly. And so in Portugal, although the system is very backed up, and that's not great, and although you're in a situation where the wait times as a result are quite long, you could get citizenship after 5 years of residency, provided you pass a language test and things like this. So not bad at all, okay? Now, what's the change? The change is, number one, they're saying it will be 10 years, okay? 10 years of residency. Now, importantly, they made a change a few years ago where, because it's taking so long, and to give you some idea, for example, one person that I know just got their Portuguese golden visa after 3.5 years, okay? So 3.5 year wait to qualify. Now, during that time, yeah, they could come to Portugal, wonderful. But, you know, that's a really long wait, right? This is insanely long processing time. And I've heard of people who are even longer than 3.5 years. So that's really nuts. What they did was they said, oh, but citizenship is going to take place from when you applied, not from when you got approved. And that's like, okay, super cool, right? All of a sudden you're talking about, who cares if your residency doesn't come through if you're after the citizenship, because of the fact that down the road, you're going to get credit for it anyway. Might still take a long time for the processing in terms of actually applying and getting it processed on the back end, but at least you have this time counted towards your citizenship when you were just in application for the residency. Well, they're saying that they will change that, and they will move it now to when you get approved for residency, not when you apply for residency. So if you imagine, in this person's case, say they raise it from 5 years to 10 years, and then on top of that, they go from when you started getting it rather than when you applied for it. That adds 3.5 years. Basically be looking at an extra 8.5 years in this example, which becomes really, I mean, there's lots of places you could go and you could get citizenship in, say, 10 years of residency. Now, it's still worth noting that as of this time, people can still get citizenship there based on having residency through a golden visa and having minimal physical presence requirements. And so that's still very attractive. So the golden visa has been super attractive because it doesn't just give residency in Portugal, it leads to citizenship in Portugal with a minimum amount of stay. And as a result, you don't need to become tax resident there, which is also super appealing, okay? So this is a unique thing about Portugal within the EU. It's of course a super top passport. They are also raising the standards in terms of what level of Portuguese you're expected to speak. And for people who are trying to do family unification, they're making that more difficult. Now, notably, this has been proposed, not approved, okay? So we will see whether it goes through. There are a bunch of things that get proposed in places like Portugal that have not been approved. For example, there were some changes in Madeira where they were looking at taking away a bunch of the incentives, and those didn't end up going through. There were some periods of time where they were thinking they were going to get rid of, say, the golden visa, and it didn't, and then, you know, so, but I think it does tell you a little bit about the general direction. And it does fit into something that I've mentioned to people quite a lot, which is if you have an opportunity to go ahead and get programs while they exist, okay? Very, very important because they may not be here anymore. And so then the question is, well, what else could you look at? Well, if you're just looking at a residence permit, there's places like Greece, there's a golden visa there. You can get a residence permit in Cyprus. They're on their way into the Schengen zone, and so that will open things up. There's the Bulgarian program that opens things up. You can certainly get residency in Malta, even though it's not citizenship anymore. And these are all ones that basically don't require any meaningful amount of physical presence. So they're kind of competitive in that regard. Of course, if you're willing to go and live there, then there's a bunch of other places where you could get citizenship, and they become potential options, right? So this is places like France, this is places like Belgium, this is places like Ireland, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Those are probably some of your faster paths to citizenship within the EU, if that's something that you're looking for. And if you're not concerned about being in the EU, where else can you go? I mean, you have places like Argentina, you have actually a variety of places in South America, Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay. You need physical presence in these types of places. It's not like you can just do it without having spent any time there, but in theory it is possible. Chile as well. Again, have to spend physical time in these places. These are not just go and get a residence permit and show up 5 years later and get the citizenship, or in some cases 2 years. But these are still pretty reasonably easy places to go. You can still get citizenship by investment in places like Turkey, in Egypt, in, of course, some Caribbean countries, et cetera, et cetera. And so all potential options for you. If you're interested in any of those things, two things. Number one, we've created a guide for you on places that you can move, where you can have a great quality of life, and it costs you low income. So that's good, right? You can improve your life and decrease your cost of living. For a lot of people, that's very appealing. So you can download that in the comments below. And then also we can help you with getting residence permits in any of these particular places. So happy to have you reach out to us. You can either send us an email through offshorecitizen.net, or you can go and you can book a call with me, which is calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There you will get personalized advice for you, targeted at what your needs and goals are, et cetera, in a way that everybody has their own situation, right? They all have their own needs and solutions. And so happy to help you find out what is best for you and then fulfill on it if that is something you want to go forward with. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, hit subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.